Did you know that there's a way for you to go out and take over a house for $100? These are houses all across the country. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of these properties you can do that with. And this is what I'm going to talk to you today. It's the most amazing opportunity. If you're thinking about quitting your job, if you're thinking about, doing something else with your life, then this might just be the thing you're looking for. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you can go out and buy that house for $100. Let's get real and let's be realistic. However, there are millions of properties throughout the country that are just houses that need a lot of work, need a lot of fixing up, and the owners just simply can't do any of that stuff. And I'm going to put you in a position where now you can go ahead and take advantage of that. And then you'll go ahead and you'll flip those properties without ever owning them, without ever even looking at them. And if you do enough of those, you can buy a house like this. And you can't own cars like that. But you got to start somewhere. So that's what I'm going to teach you here today. And why don't we do this instead of me being outside and the neighbors thinking, why is Chico out there with that selfie stick? Let's go ahead and go inside. Let me take you to my office and I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. So how is it that we can go out and make money with $100 houses? How can we find a house for $100 and make money from it? You're like, Chico, if I could do that, man, I'd be doing real estate left and right. Well, I'm going to cover that with you in today's video. We're going to be discussing a few things. We are going to be discussing the what. We're going to discuss the why and the who and the how of all this works. And now at that point, you're going to know exactly that, hey, this is really something interesting and an interesting opportunity for me. Now, let's talk about the what. What are we talking about here? What kind of houses are we talking about that we can have access to for just $100? It's certainly not the house that I live in, not this house here. You ain't going to get this one for $100. What we're talking about is houses that need a lot of work and fixing up. These are generally houses that are 20, 30 years old. When they were bought, they were in pretty good shape. They were in excellent shape. But now, after all these years of no repairs, of deferred maintenance, they look like heck. And now the owners are wanting to sell that property. But in essence, the properties that I'm talking about are properties that need a whole ton of work. Now, mind you, if you say to yourself, I'm not a handy person anyway, so this doesn't help me much, Chico, don't worry, we're not going to be doing any sort of fixing up or rehabbing or anything like that with these properties. Now, oops, I almost slipped on my couch here. Let's talk about the why and let's talk about the who. So now, if you've got a house that needs repairs, you might be thinking, well, Chico, why wouldn't somebody just take and list this house with a real estate agent? Now, these property owners just are stuck with their current situation. Now, you might be wondering, well, why are they stuck, Chico? Why would they be stuck? Why is it that they just don't call a real estate agent and say, hey, I need to get rid of this property. Please list it for me and get it off of my hands. The fact is that these properties need work. And in order for them to sell it on the open market, they're going to have to do some work to the property. They're going to have to do some fixing up, cleaning up. Maybe there's tenants in the property that are not paying rent. And so now they got to evict these tenants. And so there's stuff that needs to get done before they're able to sell this property. They don't want to do it. They just don't want to do it. And they want to find somebody who's going to buy the property direct. Somebody who's going to be a real buyer that's going to say, you know what, I want to get rid of this thing and just be done with it, right? And so somebody's going to come in and just be able to buy it. Maybe the owner just doesn't want to wait the time required in order to do all these things. And so those are the different things. Like, for example, I'll give you an example that is not related to housing, but it does make sense. So I had a Suburban and I wanted to go ahead and get a new car. And this Suburban was paid off. So free and clear. Now, I wanted to sell it. I could have put in new tires. I could have cleaned it up, gotten somebody to detail it, and then I could have put it on Craigslist, and then I could have then waited. I would have waited the time required in order to meet with a bunch of buyers, handle a bunch of inquiries, and eventually get it sold. But then I don't know how that works with the title and transferring and getting the money and everything else. So I'd have to do research on that and maybe find somebody to help me. And at the end, I didn't want to do that. So what did I do? I went to the dealership and I said, look, I got this car. I want to buy another car. Can you take this car off my hands? And they looked at it and they said, you know what? We'll make you an offer. Here's what we offer. The offer that they made me was less than if I would have gone out on Craigslist and tried to sell the car that way. But I didn't want to do that. And so for me, that was a reasonable offer. I said, great, you take it. take it off my hands, so then that way I can go on with the rest of my life. And that is exactly the situation that these property owners are in, and the source of these $100 houses. Now let me walk here to my clipboard here. So that's what we're talking about. Now the question is, okay, Chico, you've told me that there exist these houses that I can gain control of, that I can actually get my hands on for $100. And you told me that they need a lot of work. You told me that what the situation is with these people. But the question becomes is, how does this work? How do I take advantage of it? Well, it's very, very simple. By the way, if you are finding this material interesting, helpful, and insightful, make sure that you make a comment and let me know that. Make sure you give me a thumbs up. And also, you got to subscribe to the channel. Because if you come here and you watch my videos and you don't do that, then it's like going to the buffet and eating all the food and then walking out of the restaurant. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to get in trouble, and it's very rude actually to do that. So make sure you do that. I'm actually going to go ahead and step outside as I explain how this works. So the way that this works is that we are going to reach out to these property owners. There's so many different ways of finding them because there's hundreds of thousands of them all across the country. We're going to reach out to them and we're going to say, hey, are you interested in selling your property? Because based on my information, it looks like, hey, you might have a problem on your hands. And they will say, yes, I've been thinking about it. Please help me. And what you do is you just using a few sites online, you can determine what that property is worth and get a general idea of what a good price would be on that property. And again, without you knowing anything about repairs or fixing up or anything like that. And then what you're going to do then is you're going to take that property and you're going to place it under contract. You're going to have an agreement, a simple one-page agreement that you sign with the seller. And you said, here, I'm looking to buy your property. And you put up $100. That's where the $100 comes in. You put up a $100 deposit. Now, when that property owner and you sign, then now you have what's called equitable interest. You have a contract that now is your methodology of now being able to become a real estate investor. And what you do is that it just like there's hundreds of thousands of these property owners all across the country with a problem property, there are an equal amount of people that have cash in their hands that are looking to buy real estate that needs work. So because they have a contractor, because they love to do that work, because it's their main business, and they're going to go out. They want those type of deals, but they can't find them. But you found one. So what do? You offer them that piece of property. You say, hey, and it's easy to find these individuals. They're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. What you do is you say to them, look, I've got this property. I have a contract on a property that is worth $150,000, and the owner's willing to sell it to me for $90,000. Would you like that opportunity? And they, of course, will say, yes, I would like that opportunity. And guess what will happen? And what you'll do is that you are going to sell them your contract. You're going to take that contract that you have on that property that you put up $100 with, and you're going to then now take it and give it to them, and they are going to pay you what's called an assignment fee because you are giving them the contract. And so now that assignment fee could vary. It could only be a couple $1,000s. It could be, generally speaking, a lot of these assignment fees are an average of about $7,500 to $10,000. Could you imagine that? And I've had personally assignment fees that have been $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $90,000. I'm not saying you're going to make $90,000. It takes skill and hard work and effort and understanding of how this whole works. But it is a lot easier than picking up a hammer and fixing up a property and taking out money out of your bank account and get a loan and all that other stuff. And so at the end of the day, a simple $100 bill can get you access and an opportunity to control real estate and then be able to profit from it. If you are looking for an opportunity to grow your income, to replace your job, to start a new business, real estate is certainly an opportunity you should consider. And it may be one that you may not have considered in the past simply because you thought that you needed a lot of money for down payments and deposits and all this other mumbo jumbo. But the fact is that you don't need any of that. You can get started rather easily with just a simple $100 bill and a little bit of elbow grease. I don't have any elbow grease here. I'm not going to put any there for you, just for the purposes of this video, and persistence. Because as you know, every worthwhile endeavor requires time, effort, and energy. And so you got to be willing to put the work into it. But if you are willing, this is a tremendous opportunity. There's a video that is going to appear somewhere around here. I don't know where, but somewhere around here that is going to give you more details and give you a much deeper tutorial on how this all works. And it's going to get you just one step closer to start getting out there and finding houses for $100 and making money off of them.